Morning everyone. So in syntax 1 we saw the introduction part, and in syntax 1 we saw the rules which guides the chapter subject verb agreement. Now in syntax 2 we will move on to the next rule, that's rule number 4, and you all can see the rule on the board. See, first the question. The question says, question number 1 of rule number 4. The question says, either of you is or are a thief. तुम दोनों में से कोई एक चोर हो. That's the question. So now, what should be the answer according to you? All right. In the first question, the correct answer is. Now come to second question. Many a student is or are absent. बहुत एक विद्यार्थी अनुपस्थित है. ठीक है. Now in question number 2, the correct answer would again be a singular verb, that is. Now many of you must be thinking that with you we usually use plural verb are. You के साथ तो are इस्तेमाल होता है. Then how can we use is, helping verb is, with you? See, now here comes rule number 4. Rule number 4 says that if the subject is either of, if the subject is either of, if the subject is many a, or if the subject is neither of, one, none, each, every, many a, more than one, nothing but, if these are the subjects, mind you, then your helping verb or the verb would always be singular, no matter what the noun or pronoun is. And yesterday also I told you, in the earlier class also I told you in syntax 1 that with our verb always depends on the subject. It doesn't depend on noun or pronoun. Our verb always depends on the subject, and here the subjects are either of, many a. And as per rule number 4, the rule says that if the subject is either of, neither of, one, none, each, every, more than one, nothing but, etc., then our verb would always be singular. So hence I put the answers as is. Pause. Alright students, so we saw the question. Now please note down the rule. The rule number 4 on which our questions were made. So the rule says if the subject is each, every, one, none, more than one, many a, nothing but, etc., then the verb is always singular. Okay? So if you see any of these as the subject of your sentence, then your verb would always be singular. Please pause the video and note down the rule, students. So students, now moving on to the next rule. Rule number 5. The question of rule number 5 says, villages after villages was over burnt by the army. गांव के गांव जला दिए गए सैनिकों के द्वारा. Now, first of all, tell me what is the correct subject here. We have the subjects villages and villages, and both the subjects are joined by a preposition. Mind you, this time the subjects are joined by a preposition. Preposition after. You all can see here. This time the subjects are joined by a preposition after. Now, what should be the correct answer, students? The correct answer for this would be singular verb was. Now, here in this question, question number 5 of the question is also wrong, students. The question is also wrong. See, the correct question should be village. Village after village was burnt by the army. गांव के गांव जला दिए गए सैनिकों के द्वारा. इस तरह से नहीं बोलते हम कि गांव के गांव जला दिए गए सैनिकों के द्वारा. It is always singular noun. Now, see what does the rule says. किस rule के according हमने इस question को बनाया है. The rule says, rule number 5 says, students, if same noun, you can see here, both the noun are same. Both the subjects are same. Village. If same noun or say same subject is joined by a preposition. एक जैसे subjects if they are joined by a preposition, then in those cases, the noun is also, the subject is also singular and the verb is also singular. So we have put the subjects singular and the verb also singular. So rule number 5 says, but mind you students, same subject must repeat. एक ही जैसे सब्जेक्ट होने चाहिए और दोनों के दोनों सब्जेक्ट मस्ट बी joined by any preposition after, before, up, down, in, on, any preposition. Both the subject must be joined by a preposition and both the subjects must be similar, same, एक जैसे होने चाहिए. Then in that case only your subject as well as your verb will always be singular as per rule number 5 students. Please note down the question, then I'll write down the rule. So students, now see the rule and please note down the rule. Rule number 5. Rule number 5 says, agar same subject, if similar subjects are joined by a preposition, then both subject as well as the verb is taken singular. So please note down the rule. Pause. Alright students, so now moving on to rule number 6. In rule number 6, you must be seeing that this time we are not having a question on the board for rule number 6. See, we have a star mark here and the star mark says gerund. Before starting rule number 6, we must know one thing and that is gerund. What is a gerund? Because if you don't know what is a gerund, then you can't understand this rule number 6. So before understanding or before starting this rule number 6, you must understand that what is a gerund. So students, what is a gerund? Do you know that? If you don't worry, I am telling you in the simplest possible manner. See here, gerund is nothing but these are those subjects. These are those subjects which are V4. Which are what? V4. So basically, those V4, those ing ka form which are used as a subject. Those V4 which are used as a subject. So this is the most basic definition of gerund. However, some more definition, it is more elaborated, but in this chapter, this much definition will help you. So we will discuss gerund in verb chapter in more descriptive form. For now, we must know what is a gerund. How can we identify a gerund? So for identifying a gerund, the first and foremost thing which you must see is that word should start, that word should be a V4. That word should be a V4, ing ka form. है ना? And as well as that V4 must be a subject. Then only you can say that as a gerund. See, I have written two questions, two examples here. I am eating a mango. Alright. So you all can see here, eating is what? That's a V4. So what? Can we say this eating as a gerund? No. Why? Because this eating is a V4 for sure, but this is not a subject. So this is not a gerund. Here, same eating, same V4, but now this V4 is a gerund. Why? Because this is a V4 as well as this is a subject also. So students, those V4 which are used as a subject, those V4 are called gerund. Are you got that? So this is the most simplest way you can understand or identify a gerund. So now when you have understood gerund, now we will move on to rule number 6. Pause. So students, you all can see the questions for rule number 6. Try to solve the question on your own first, then I'll tell you the correct answer and the explanation as well. So first question says here, drinking is or are injurious. Now, can you identify the gerund here? Of course you can. See, drinking is what? That's a V4 as well as that's a subject. So this drinking is what? That's a gerund. That's a gerund. Now, in question number 2, can you identify gerund? Or can you tell me how many gerunds have been used in question number 2? Rule number 6? 2 gerunds. First one is smoking, gerund 1. Second one is swimming, gerund 2. So in question number 1, we have one gerund. In question number 2, we have two gerunds. So now please try to answer the questions of rule number 6. In first question, since we have one gerund, so as per the rule of 6, it says, agar ek gerund hai, if single gerund is used, then verb will be singular. If multiple gerund is used, then verb will be plural. As simple as that. Alright students, it's very simple. Singular gerund, as you all can see in question number 1, singular gerund, singular verb. Multiple gerund, plural verb. Alright students, so it's all about counting and knowing and identifying gerund. Alright students, so please note down the question, then I'll tell you the rule. Pause. Okay students, so I have mentioned the rule number 6 on the board in a very simplest manner, in the simplest possible manner. It is not bookish at all. See, single gerund, agar ek gerund hai, then verb will be singular. Multiple gerund, more than one gerund, then verb will be plural. It's very simple. So please note down rule number 6. Moving on to the next rule. Pause. Alright students, so now see the question of rule number 7. Question says, the three musketeers was or were a great hit. Now try to answer the question. Was or were? Now first identify the correct subject here. The correct subject here is the three musketeers. This is whole one subject. See, what is this? The three musketeers? Do you know that? See, the three musketeers is nothing but the name of a novel book. That's the name of a novel book. And any name, either it is the name of a book, magazine, newspaper, anything. After the name, after any name, the verb is always singular. So the correct answer for this question would be a singular verb. But the main problem is, how are we going to identify that this thing is a name? Because many of we don't know all the names of the book, all the names of the newspaper, all the names of the magazine. Then how are we going to identify that the given name, the given subject is a name? That's the main problem. How to identify that whether the subject is a name or not. See, a very simple trick will work out here. See, if it comes under closed inverted comma, closed inverted commas. If the subject comes under closed inverted commas, तब आप समझ लेना that subject is nothing but a subject. वो जो closed inverted comma के अंदर है वो और कुछ नहीं but it's a name. And we all know that as per rule number 7 that after a name the verb is always singular. And between was and were, the singular verb was nothing but was. So was the right answer. Alright students, I hope you have understood the rule. The rule says after any name, whether it's the name of book, article, newspaper, any name, after any name, the verb is always singular. Please note down the question. I'm writing down the rule. So students, the rule on which that question number 7 was made is this rule. On this rule I made the question. The rule is here on the board. Please note down the rule. Name of books, magazine, newspapers, or sometimes you can also see in the questions proverb or phrases being given in the question. कई बार मुहावरे शेरो शायरी भी दिए रहते हैं नाम के अलावा. So mind you, after proverbs, phrases, idioms, after these things also the verb is always singular only, students. So please note down the rule. Pause the video and note down the rule, student. To the next rule. Alright students, so now moving on to rule number 8. The questions for rule number 8 are here on the board. First question says, a group of boy or boys. See, this was not the part of the question. I have added just for a little more information for you guys. A group of boy or boys is or are going to Delhi. Okay. Second question says, a group of boy or boys, same thing, is or are going to different classrooms. See, before starting rule number 8, you must know what is a collective noun. So do you know what is a collective noun? See, collective noun, that's a very easy thing. You must be knowing that. कलेक्टिव नाउन इज नथिंग बट अ ग्रुप ऑफ नाउन। बहुत सिंपल डेफिनेशन में, बहुत सिंपल तरीके से मैं आपको यही बता सकता हूं दैट कलेक्टिव नाउन इज नथिंग बट ग्रुप ऑफ नाउन। सो हियर वी कैन सी दैट अ ग्रुप ऑफ बॉयज और बॉय जो भी, ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट, दैट्स अ कलेक्टिव नाउन बिकॉज इट इज शोइंग अस collection of noun. Boy or boys both are noun and group shows collection of boys. So this is, here the subject is nothing but a collective noun. In the second question also our subject is nothing but a collective noun. See, first question, in some of the examination I have seen this question. In some question examinations in error part it has been asked that whether it is group of boy or group of boys. See, the correct answer is group of boys. Always plural noun is used with collective noun. Group of boys or group of boys, and always indefinite article a or an is used prior to collective noun. You must know this thing. Okay? Now students, if the subject is a collective noun, then your verb will be singular or plural. What do you say? Here we can see that our subjects are what? These are collective noun. See, with rule number 8 says in first question the correct answer is, in second question the correct answer is are. In the first question singular verb will be used and in second question plural verb will be used. Now you must be thinking that our subjects are same, दोनों में same subject इस्तेमाल हुए हैं, but in first question I am using singular verb, in second question I am using plural verb. Why so? Because student, rule number 8 says that if collective noun is used unitedly, collectively, इकट्ठे एक की तरह इस्तेमाल होता है, ठीक है, if collective noun is used unitedly, and how are we going to know that the collective noun is used as in a united way? When we read out the whole question, what do we find out? That whole group went to Delhi. Whole collective noun went to Delhi. That is one place. So our whole collective noun was united. Our whole collective noun was all together. So whensoever, जब कभी भी आपका पूरा का पूरा collective noun इकट्ठे एक होता है, it works as an individual, then the verb is singular. When we read out the second question, in second question what did we find? We find out that whole of the collective noun went to different classroom, है ना, बच्चे अलग अलग क्लासरूम में गए, तो आपका collective noun क्या हो गया? Divided हो गया. When the collective noun is divided, then the verb is plural, and when the collective noun is united, then the verb is singular. जब collective noun आपका united है तो verb आपका singular है, जब collective noun आपका divided है then your verb is plural. So you can see here in the first question the collective noun was united, so singular verb was used. In second question your collective noun was divided, so plural verb was used. Please note down the question, then I'll write the rule. So student, I have written down the rule number 8, on which the previous question was solved. See, once again I am explaining you the rule. This rule is little bit typical, but I have written in a very simplified manner so that you can easily understand the rule. If the subject is a collective noun and if that collective noun is united, then the verb is singular. If the subject is a collective noun and if that collective noun is divided, then your verb is plural. Please note down the rule. With this, your rule number 8 ends. Now students, I'll see you in syntax 3. Thank you.